How's it going, guys? Dylan with Dylan's Outdoor Garage, back at another video of the John Deere LA110 riding mower. In the previous video that we did in part one, we did an oil change, we replaced the fuel filter, added fresh gas, and we did some carburetor tune-up on it and try to clean the carburetor and try to see if we can get this thing up and running because it sat for a little while. And when we fired it up, it was poofing out a lot of black smoke. And so I tried to figure out what was going on, and I think there was a couple things I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to either be a bad carburetor, either needed to adjust the feed screws, or it was possibly a blown head gasket because fuel just keeps pouring inside of the engine and causing it to flood itself and getting vapor lock. And I did come across a box while going through some boxes while I cleaned out the garage and found a carburetor that had a tune-up kit in there with a new shut-off valve, carburetor, spark plugs, gaskets. And I think that when I bought this a couple years ago, I took off the fuel shut-off solenoid that's attached to the bottom of the bowl of the carburetor, and I replaced it down here, and it worked for a little bit, but I think that the main issue might actually be the carburetor itself. So in today's video, we're going to take that out and put this new carburetor in there and see if that will fix our issue. If it did, then that means then it won't be a head gasket issue, and it was just too much fuel was being poured into the carburetor and causing it to flood into the engine and then into the intake. So come with me, we'll get that installed and see if we can get this thing up and running. But first, we got to move this big green out of the way and take it outside so I can have room in here to work on the mower. I do want to shout out to one of you guys that commented on the video of the part one of this John Deere mower. I do appreciate you guys' feedback on it. I do want to shout out Honeybee Guys 5872. He commented, sounds like you didn't take the throttle off of the choke position. I did double check that, and I did try to make sure that the throttle was in the running position and not on choke. The pretty cool thing about this mower is that there's only one throttle that does the throttle and the choke. Whereas the MTD 990, it has two. It has a lever for just the choke, and then it has a separate lever just for the throttle. So this one, I'll show you guys, it's pretty cool. If you guys look right here, you can see that there's no other levers on here. There's the lever on here to engage the mower deck, and then you have to reverse to keep the PTO, like the deck running, and just when you're going reverse, and then you have your throttle and choke all together. So right now, it is in the running position on high. But if I take a screwdriver, because the handle is broken, if I take this and move it all the way up, that's in the choke position. And I know I didn't have it in that position when I took it off of the choke when I had it running. So if I lower it back down, that's where it was when I parked it. So I appreciate that comment, and if you guys want to keep putting those comments down in the videos below, whenever I do have an issue with one of the projects that we're working on this channel, it helps me out. I'm no master small engine mechanic. All this is all self-taught. This is just doing research here, looking on YouTube for other people and see what they've done, reading forums. So it does help me out when you guys have some information that I don't know about that would help, especially when there's not many videos for the MTD 990 when it comes to issues where I come across that. There's not that many videos for the Taylor and Dunn utility cart. There's not that many videos out there, and I do want to put more videos out there of showing how to troubleshoot these so that other people like me who have similar projects like these that we have around the shop, that it can help them out. Because sometimes some of the forums are from the forum I found for the MTD 990. The last thing was posted on those forums was almost 8 to 10 years ago. So there's not a lot of information that's kind of current. because there's always some things that are always changing. Either manufacturers are changing the design of certain parts because those parts become obsolete because they're discontinued and you can't get them anymore. So it definitely helps me out that you guys are commenting on these videos and saying, hey, try this. It does help me out so that I can be able to try to think of it and just like, well, I could try that and see if that works. Or I've already tried that and it doesn't work. We can try figure something else out. So keep those comments coming. I do read those all the time. And thank you so much again, Honeybee Guy, for commenting down below on the part 1 of this video. So let's get all these guys out of here and let's get this thing running. All right, first things first, we're gonna put some safety glasses on so we can protect our eyes from any potential fuel or dirt or debris that flings at us. Definitely don't want to get that stuff in your eyes. And then we're gonna put some gloves on. Perfect, we got our gloves on. And what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to take this carburetor off without taking this whole top piece off and see, because it doesn't look like it needs to come off. So what we'll do is we'll take these 2 bolts off, which are holding the intake to the carburetor, and they're held on by a 7/16 socket. That came loose. I'm going to unloosen them until threads are off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect this fuel line, and then we're going to take a fuel crimp. Basically, we'll crimp this off so that fuel won't pour out while we have it disconnected from the carburetor. Okay. I'm going to take the fuel crimp, tight that on there without damaging the hose, and then I got a rag here to catch any excess fuel that comes out of the hose. That came off quicker than I thought it was going to be. Thought I was going to have to fight it. Whoa. A little spill up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a zip tie on these, onto this cable right here so that I can just get out of the way. So I'm going to go grab a zip tie real quick. I'm not going to tie it all the way, just enough so that it won't sag down. Looks like I'm going to have to tie it a little bit. Keep getting a little bit of fuel from the hose. Alright, so that's out of the way. And then we're going to disconnect the solenoid, fuel solenoid shut off. Get that out of the way. And then we're going to take these threads off. Come on. There we go. And then so next what we're going to do is we're going to take these off of the intake, and then that should take a 3/8 socket. Fits perfectly. And I got to be careful, tighten these back up because this is plastic and not aluminum. Don't want to crack it. Okay, set those over here. We're going to slide this down, and then we have our choke cable and our throttle cable. And I think I might have to take this shroud off so that I can be able to get access to be able to kind of bend this carburetor out of here without bending these rods for the throttle and the choke. So I might have to do that. So we're going to start off by taking the fuel pump off. All right, got that guy off. Now we got to access that bolt right there, which I'm going to try to get down there with my ratcheting wrench. Which should be a 3/8 as well. And there's four spots that this plastic casing is on. So there's one by the fuel pump, two up here in the front, and then one more down here. One. Get this back one. There's the second one. And now time to tackle these two. These two are a little bit different. They are not a 3/8 socket. It takes a star bit. Which is kind of like a Torx. So I believe, if I remember correctly, this was a T40. Set these guys with the other ones. And then we got to take the oil dipstick out so we can get the cover off. Wipe that off. Set that up there. Now this should come up. looks like. There we go. So the intake hose was attached down here underneath. There we have it. Top is off. Now we have access to everything that we need to get this carburetor out of here. So put this there we go. So now this breather hose, get this out of the way. So this went in like that. Set that right there. And then I'm going to tip this. And then this little retention spring. Lay that right there. And then now we have the carburetor off. And now what we have to do is we need to take these off and get this intake tube out so that we can be able to put this on the new carburetor. So these are going to be 5/16, and then you're going to need a deep socket so that you can be able to get it over these threads and be able to still use your wrench. There's one. And there's two. Set that up there. So now that those two bolts are taken off of the carburetor, we need to take the fuel shutoff solenoid and put it on the new carburetor because it threads right in the bottom there. And what I like to do is that the most important thing to do is to try to compare the two carburetors and make sure that everything is the exact same. You got to make sure that the hole placements are the exact same, the injector holes are in the same spots. So you have your choke right here, then you have your throttle, and then you have your fuel inlet, and then over here looks like it's to be the same, it's just slightly different. Right here looks like there's a little bit of fuel left in the bowl on this one. So what we need to do is that while we take this one off, we need to put it over a catch tray so that we can make sure that we don't make a mess everywhere. So there we go. Had to use some leverage. Take this out. And see, that is why it's important to have this over, because look how much the debris and stuff wasn't from the carburetor. This is just because this was left in the cup. But look how much fuel was in the bowl. And that would have made a mess everywhere. Now that we have the fuel shutoff solenoid off of the old one, we're going to thread it back into the new one. Tighten that up. And it really doesn't need to be that tight, just needs to be able to kind of give it till it snugs, because you don't want to strip the threads on the inside. And then now we just got to put everything back together. What I can do while the top is off, I'll just put these nuts back on, and I could just put them on there loosely so that I could kind of be able to move this around while I put the intake into the top again. Okay. Now we'll put the dipstick tube back in. And we're going to take these guys, pre-thread them in. Tighten those, and then we will go over here and tighten that down, tighten that one down. All right, time to get everything back connected. Just as I was about to start putting things back together, my GoPro decided to die. So with a fresh battery, let's put everything back together. We're gonna put the fuel pump back on, and then put the hose into the carburetor. It's the exact same process as taking it off, so I'm just gonna jump into when everything gets done. All right, got everything reattached. Got the fuel pump put back on. Got the fuel line connected to the new carburetor. Only thing left to do is put the air filter back together and take this outside to do a test drive. While I was off camera, I did install this fuel shutoff valve that was in the box of the new carburetor. I did that as an added security so that if anything does happen to this electronic fuel pump shutoff solenoid down here under the carburetor, that if that goes out, that this manual shutoff will prevent extra fuel going into the carburetor and potentially flooding the engine and causing more issues with the engine. So I don't want to do that. So this was a easy installation. All I had to do is just snip the hose, take a little bit off so that I can kind of keep it flush so that it doesn't have any extra sagging down. So now that's all together. We're just going to do a leak test. We're going to take this hose clamp off and turn the valve on. Make sure that there's no fuel dripping out of the shutoff valve that I installed or into the new carburetor. By the looks of it, I don't see anything. So let's get this all buttoned up, push this outside, and let's fire this thing up and see if this fixes it. second I did those adjustments, it started running without any issues. So definitely can say it was the carburetor. So really excited. All right, let's take this bad boy for a spin and see if it will bog down with the mower deck engaged. Test spot. Let's find out. That it works. The mower's fixed. I'm really excited about that. It was just a simple carburetor and nothing more. I was really hesitant that it was going to be something internal, but it was just a simple carburetor. So always start with the basic and work your way up to the extreme. So I'm just very grateful that I had the carburetor on hand and I was able just to throw that on there. So thank you, me, from 2 years ago for buying it and not installing it then. So definitely thank you so much for all the support you guys given on the part 1 and on this channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, press the subscribe button. If you like the content that I do on these videos, give it a thumbs up. It helps me out to know what content you guys are interested in so I can put out more of those in the future videos. If you want to turn on the bell notification so the second that I post a video, you guys will get notified. If you guys want early access to any videos or any projects that I'm working on, we do have a Facebook and Instagram account, Dylan's Outdoor Garage. I will link those down in the description down below so you guys can go follow those pages. I do want to start posting more on there to kind of give you guys some sneak peeks of what's coming up. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all the support that you guys given me, and I'll see. Now that the mower's running, can you please cut the grass? It's been too... Oh, come on. I just got the mower up and running. Can we just get some cows or maybe some goats to cut the grass? I just got this up and running. Just give me a break.